Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Flip. Guys, today I have Mohammed with me uh, from DN Top Buyer. You guys probably know him. He has some of the best marketing I've ever seen a direct buyer have on the internet. And I wanted to bring him on the podcast because me and Mohammed kind of came from a similar area, I guess. You were a David
hmm
K student, right?
Yep.
So I think
Uh-huh.
we're in the same group. And now he is a direct buyer. He's doing some big numbers. I see him posting stuff all the time. We met in person, so he is a real person. So,
And he's
uh,
not as cool in person, but yeah.
um, but anyway, guys, I wanted to bring him on today because I think it's important that you guys kind of hear from direct buyers like themselves. Like we never really see some of them ever. And for the ones that come out on the podcast and things like that, I think it's really cool to kind of see these people are also human and how you can, be relatable to them and things like that. So, with that being said, we're going to kick it off today and we're going to get started. And we're going to start off in the beginning. So, dude, I never asked you this, but like, how did you find out about phone flipping?
That's my favorite thing to talk about. So,
Did you fall into
I
it?
kind of yeah, I kind of just fell into it. Like I feel like most people have nobody really plans on when I grow up I want to flip phones. It's more of like you kind of just fall into flipping things and it leads down to it. So for me at the time I was in college. I needed to make $500 a month somehow to pay my bills. Like that's all I needed. I needed to make $500 some way somehow. So I started with garage sales. So that's before electronics. So I was doing like the Gary V stuff where he goes to garage sales, buys stuff, looks it up on eBay, sells it. That's how I started. Then a couple months into that, I started going to liquidation.com. It's a website where you can buy from sellers that are liquidating inventory. So my target was a lot of baseball pants. So I don't know, the seller used to sell these dirty baseball pants that are like super weird sizes and things like that. And so that was my niche. I used to buy those from him for like a box of 30 pairs, but they were Under Armour. They were like good brands. So Under Armour
Yeah.
baseball pants, I was buying like 30 of them for $170. And I would sell each one for 15, 20 bucks, and I'll make $7 each. And that was mixed between that and garage sales was doing it for me. Eventually, I went back to YouTube. I was like, how to make money online. And a David Kosciuszko ad popped up, and he had like a phone in his hand, and he was saying, I don't know exactly what the ad was, but it was in his store, his typical ads, and he was like talking about what he does, and he had a free training thing. Clicked on the free training, watched the free training, um, watch his YouTube content, all the free stuff, and I started doing it. The first deal didn't go well. I'm pretty sure it was an iPhone 6s off of OfferUp. I either lost $20 or I made $10. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what unlocked was. I don't know what locked was. I don't know anything about that, to be honest. I was just, I just saw it on OfferUp. I was like, all right, this is the first deal. But I saw the potential in a sense. I'm like, okay, like instead of flipping $10 pants, I can flip this $100 iPhone. I can probably make $20, $30. That's a lot better profit. Um, and that's how I slowly got into it. Started watching more content, learned how to post ads in different groups. Back then, Facebook Marketplace ads was a thing. It's not as
Oh,
easy right
that was a
now.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were great.
Yeah. Craigslist was a thing too. I mean, he was talking
Yeah.
about Craigslist all the time and slowly got into it. I made okay money, but I kept losing it all the time due to basic mistakes,
Yeah.
buying things that are locked, buying things without checking them, being in a rush in a meetup, getting screwed over by a customer thinking that they're honest, but people are out there to get you to be honest for most of the time. So for a lot of the time, first 6 months, I didn't really make money, or I didn't keep the money, but I was making money. So I stuck with it. And yeah, that's kind of how I just fell into it. And I was just trying to pay bills,
I
basically.
think most people fall into it, right? Like, I remember whenever I started into it, and I like obviously I think we all lose money like on our first deal. Like I think that's
Yeah.
kind of how it works, right? Like it's like the make or break of the industry. Like, well, I mean, I'll be real. A lot of my students don't lose money on their first deals, but
Hmm.
like a lot of us, you, me, Aaron, the rest of us, like a lot of us lost money because we just didn't know what to do, um, outside
100%.
of like posting the ads, and maybe
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to operate an iPhone whenever I started this business. Like the first
Right.
two phones
Yeah.
I ever bought were iCloud locked. I didn't know what
Hmm.
that was, you know.
Hmm.
So it's a whole thing, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it's like you're gonna lose in this business sometimes. Like that's gonna be the game. Like
As in any other business, though.
yeah, of
So
course, yeah.
yeah.
Like I think that's one thing a lot of people just don't realize is like in any business you're going to lose. You know, it was
Yeah.
funny because I saw a software the other day that they basically take all of your payroll out and everything based off of like the money that comes in. Like they do it automatically, and
Okay.
the profit margin there was 15%. And the comments were just like raking this whole thing. They were like 15%
Oh
profit, and I was like,
wow. Hmm.
bro, that's actually pretty good for like some businesses out there. I don't think
Yeah.
people realize how blessed they are in this industry, especially as
Hmm.
like the local phone flipper, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just bought an iPhone 15 Pro Max earlier and I made
Hmm.
$120 like in profit. Like
In like 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
yeah,
whatever the
like
meetup
yeah,
was. Yeah.
exactly. It's like
Right.
I don't think people realize how blessed they are to have that, you know? Like I bought
Yeah.
two iPads the other day, both of them broken. One of them didn't even turn
Hmm.
on for
Hmm.
$155. One sold for 210, the other's going to sell for 200. Like
Right.
it's those little things that is interesting to me, and that's how we started. And it's kind of funny because I'm sure you um, messed around in other business ventures at the same
Yeah.
time.
100%. Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
you probably came back to the phone flipping because
Every time.
it's so
Yep.
easy. Like once you
Yeah.
know what to do,
Yeah.
it's hard to leave. Like you can't unsee deals after you know how to find them.
Yeah. It does get addicting in a sense, almost like you come back, but um it's very important to know like to get deals, like that's the main thing. And once you see them, you start seeing them everywhere. Like once you understand the market a little bit, you understand that an iPhone 15 Pro Max unlocked listed on Marketplace for $600 is a good deal, and you get leads and you get things like that. It's also important to learn how to keep the money. That's maybe something that
Yeah,
people at the start struggle with.
yeah,
It's like you get the money and you see all this money in your account for the first time, like, oh, I'm gonna start spending.
yeah,
But you gotta save it. You gotta put it back in, and it's literally a machine. It's You could literally print money flipping things.
yeah,
Like if you have the more capital you have, literally the more money you have, the more you can flip. You can do it on a bigger scale, and you might think, oh, how do I get access to these big deals or whatever? Stick with it, and trust me, they'll just start showing up. And when you have the money ready to deploy it, the capital to deploy it into bigger deals where it's not two phones, it's 50 devices or whatever in different products, you'll see and you'll be able to buy it. And then it's all about like sticking with it and not losing focus and trying to do 10 different things. Like I was at an event the other day. It was a real estate event. I shouldn't even been there, but I was just trying to learn a thing or two. I
yeah.
wasn't necessarily trying to get into business. And the guy next to me, he was like, yeah, man, like I work with this startup and I also I work in a kayak business and I'm writing this story for my friend. And I'm like, dude, why are you doing all these things? Why don't you just focus on one? And he's like, well, you need multiple streams of income and things like that. But if all of them suck, what's the point? So it makes sense to just stick to one. And I think just flipping in general is a great starting business. Like it's so easy. The like what is it called? Like it's so easy to get started, basically. Like you just need a little bit of money. You don't need $100 million. You don't even need $1,000, dude. Like $500. That's what I started with. And you just flip it, flip it, flip it. You increase your knowledge through information that people provide, like you or any other person. Like you can find a lot of free information on YouTube, Facebook. You just use the information and develop your knowledge so you don't get screwed, and you just stick with it and you just flip over and over and over again and just build that money up so you can do it more and more and more and make more and more and more. It's
I
it's
call it
it's simple.
recycling money, right? Like I
100%.
call it just recycling. Like you can take the same $1,000, right, and
Mm-hmm.
just like whether you're in debt or you're trying to save, it's either way. I was actually talking to a student about this earlier, and they were asking me
Mm-hmm.
about this because they didn't have a ton to work with in terms of
Yeah.
capital. And I was like, just set aside a certain amount, and if you're in
Mm-hmm.
debt, then whatever you profit, you put towards the debt. You just keep that
Yeah.
same amount that you had in the beginning. Like if it's $1,000, it's $1,000. Let's
Yeah.
say you flip an iPhone, whatever, 15, make $120. $120 goes towards debt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you're out of debt, you just you just keep recycling it into the same thing, and just
Right.
do it that way. And like I think
Yeah.
because what I see happen a lot is people will have their first five, six, $8,000 profit month, and then their
Mm-hmm.
business starts paying their bills. And
Mm.
David K actually told me in the very beginning, whenever I was talking about going full time, he's like, "You better have like 25 grand saved up before you do that." I didn't listen to
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because the mentor doesn't know anything. It's not like he's
of
been
course,
doing
yeah,
it
mentors
for
don't know
years.
anything. You know,
Yeah.
they obviously don't know what they're talking about because they haven't been through it before.
Yeah.
Stupid on my part. Anyway, it was
Right.
very difficult after that because I
Yeah.
think I was at that time I was only making about 5 grand a month in
Okay.
profit, and it cut my cash flow in half having to pay for bills.
Yeah. 100%.
Um,
Yeah.
and then you'd have to come up with the money for the devices and everything. I mean, we made it through and everything was fine, but it was
Mm-hmm.
definitely much harder, because I was a server at the time,
Yep.
and then I was also flipping on the side, and I was making double what I was making at my job. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think a lot in the beginning, a lot of flippers don't realize this is like you
Mm-hmm.
need to just keep recycling this, unless you're like going after education or something like that's a different kind of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to build your skills, that's a little different,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
because that return will come back tenfold.
Yep.
I mean, it always
100%.
has for me. Every time I
Yeah.
invest in education, I make a ridiculous return. It's a lifetime
Mm-hmm.
return actually after that,
Yep.
in my opinion. And I saw you just came back from Hormozy's event, one of his
Yeah.
workshops. How was that?
That was it's nothing too crazy, but it just shows you that the shit that he talks about on his videos is the same thing that he tells you in person.
Yeah.
It's like the theory of constraint, focus on this, make sure you focus on the highest leverage thing that you could do for your business, and just do that. And everything else that doesn't help you get to your goal, delegate it, eliminate it, automate it, just don't do it. And focus on the thing that actually will move the needle forward, which I know for myself, I avoid the hard thing because it's hard to do the things that move the needle forward sometimes. It's easy to fall into your day-to-day routine of I'm just gonna post an ad and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna go inspect my items, I'm gonna go meet my customers and da 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 da. And that's the day-to-day easy things that I'm comfortable doing that make me the money, but it's not growing my business. I'm just maintaining. But if you want to grow, you have to put in a solid hour or two into strategy and things you can do to grow whatever you're trying to do, and then and leave time for the day-to-day operations. But it's just easy to fall into the day-to-day and just be like, I'm making good money, I'm making a couple of grands, but there's a lot more if you actually there are people making a lot more money than you ever think you can make. So
Yeah.
there's always potential in there.
So in the direct buying business, what's the highest leverage thing you can do? Is it finding more sellers? Is it what is it? Is it making connections with bigger buyers? Like what is the quote unquote highest leverage thing that you could be doing on a daily basis as a direct buyer?
To me, I would say 100% finding suppliers.
Yeah.
I think the more suppliers you have, the more money you will make because suppliers will, it could be phones, it could be laptops, it could be cameras, it could be different things. But the more leads you get, the more money you can make. Yeah, you might not sell to, like, I'll be honest, dude, I don't sell to the highest paying people. Like, there are a lot of direct buyers that pay more than me. And I know it's DN top buyer, but everybody knows that it's kind of a joke. I'm not the top buyer. I'm not like paying crazy overseas prices
Yeah.
at all, but it's more of just being able to get more leads. Like the more inflow there is, even if your closing rate is not the greatest, even if your prices are not the greatest, if you're getting leads, you're gonna make money. And the more leads you get, the more money you'll make. And then the other things can be tweaked later. But the highest leverage thing is get more leads. Like that's for local or direct buying.
I
You
was about
just
to say same
get
business.
leads. Just get it, yeah, get leads, get people to sell you shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think a lot of people realize that it's the same business at the bottom as it is at the top. You know,
Same shit.
like
Just more
if you're
quantity.
a local phone flipper, you just need more leads. Like a lot of people think
Yeah.
whenever they, I get a lot of DMs with people asking me how to become a direct buyer, and I'm like, dude, I don't know, I'm not one. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't want that life. Like I don't want that. Like I see you, you get burnt out with inventory. Like
100,
I've
yeah.
seen it. Like you taking the
Yeah.
vacations and things. Like
100%.
I
Yeah.
could not. Like that's not my thing. Like I build
Hmm.
software. I like teaching. I will tell you that
Hmm.
the highest leverage thing that I do is make content. And
Hmm.
but man, that is one of the hardest things to do. You know, because you say,
Yeah.
oh, well, I say the same thing over and over again for
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount of time. You know, it's
But
like
that shows that it works, but people
it
maybe
works.
don't
Yeah,
realize it. Yeah.
I
That's
show
why I say it
people how
over
to
and
get
over. Yeah.
leads. All I do is
Hmm.
show people how to get leads over and over again. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, and then we buy phones from our students now, but that's a little
Hmm.
different. But
Yeah.
I don't do that. Aaron does it.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Hmm.
deal with the inventory other than buying the phones locally.
Yeah.
Which is like you going back to that real quick. I mean, the reason I still do that is like number one, I have Google My Business set up,
Yeah.
so the leads are free, and it's like a
Organic.
money
Yeah.
printing machine every day. Like
Hmm.
all I gotta do is show up and buy it, sell it. And for you
Yeah.
guys watching, how easy is that? So I'll show up at Starbucks, buy the phone, send an invoice, and sometimes I paid before I get home.
Yeah.
And like one thing I've noticed about you as a direct buyer is um, you're very transparent on paying quick. Like,
Yeah.
and I think you do that mostly because you were at the level that like the beginner phone flippers were at, right? Like you remember
Yeah.
that you needed the money fast so you could make more deals happen.
What, dude, what I was doing, just to, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I used to do is when I was like starting low capital, I would buy a phone. I would send the invoice to whoever buyer. I would send a PayPal invoice specifically. Luckily, my PayPal had the instant funds thing because
Yeah,
I was selling on eBay before. Instant fund, instant transfer to my bank account. I'll get the money right away. I'll pay whatever the fee is, 1% or whatever it was. Pull the money out
yeah,
and go buy some other phones because I didn't have money to buy the other shit. But I would just take the money out right away. So I would pre-sell the device. I would have it in hand, but then I don't ship it until the next day. But I'm gonna go take that money and the invoice and go buy with money that is not necessarily mine, but it
yeah,
was gonna be mine in the future.
yeah.
But that's how it was, dude. Like I just had to do what I had to do. Because back when we were doing it, I don't like when we were first starting, people weren't paying up front. I don't think that was a thing. Like I
They
wasn't
were
getting
not.
no
It
Zells
was a
or
lot of
Venmos
PayPal
or
invoice
Cash App.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. Nobody was paying up front. Now everybody wants up front. And if that's the standard, you gotta deal with it. But
yeah.
it's not ideal for a direct buyer to pay up front because usually my process is way more organized than a lot of the nothing against anybody that the
Yep.
local flippers, the people, but our process is a lot more organized. We use software to check the devices. We have ways to check inventory. We just use 6W to check the IMEI and stuff, but it's very specific things. And our margin is not $120. Our margin is $20 per
Yeah.
device. So that's why it makes sense to do pay on delivery, but I do make exceptions to some people that have proven to be trusted. But it can bite you, it's just a risk. But yeah,
Well, I mean, that comes with the business, right? Like, let's be real. The phone and electronics business is a risky business no matter what.
yeah,
Like, you got those people out there that have been trustworthy in the past, and then something happens, I guess, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden they're not anymore.
Hmm.
What's crazy though is how the industry has evolved to basically blacklist certain people now.
Yeah, dude.
You can
Yeah,
basically wipe
100%.
somebody off of the map with the groups at this point. Um, and
Yeah, do one bad deal and you're done
you're
for.
screwed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You will never be
That's why,
this again.
dude, the reputation is like the number one thing. Like whether you're buying or selling, like if you're selling to people and you have a bad reputation, like if you're a local flipper and you don't grade items properly or you try to get one over people when you deal with them, it doesn't look good on you. And if you're a buyer, like you just have to do your best to avoid having issues, even if it means taking a loss,
Yes.
because your reputation goes over everything. Like this business is all about reputation. If people like you and know you do good business, they will do business with you. If you do something just over some petty amount, 50, $100, whatever, to screw somebody over and you get blasted, and it shouldn't even matter getting blasted. Like I take pride in the way I do business is I 99.999% of people that I deal with, I make sure I do good business. Like that is my thing. And even when I have personal things go on, whatever, I'm very transparent with people. I'm like, hey, I'm going through it. I need a break. I'm not going to do business. And
Yeah.
I try to be very upfront about my processes. So when I know I'm backed up with inventory or things that are coming, hey, I can't pay you within 24 hours. Please give us 2 business days. And I'll be honest, like sometimes I can pay you on the weekends, and sometimes I'm like, dude, I need 2 days. I'll just be upfront. If you don't want to ship to me, don't. I understand. But
Yeah.
it's just being transparent as much as possible to make sure there is no misunderstanding and they expect you to pay and they need the money, whatever, and you don't pay them on time, and it's good business. It's a reputation, reputation, reputation. That's like number one. Like you can't mess that up at all
This is
with
something
with
that
your
I'm
people.
noticing is changing in the direct buying space.
Mm,
Is a lot more of them now than ever before since they've
hmm
basically been created, are focusing more on their reputation than anything else.
Yeah.
Like I've been getting less and less quote unquote like deductions like
Mm,
recently than ever before. I actually
hmm
had one the other day. I guess they updated their price sheet the same day that I sent an invoice, and my
Okay.
invoice was lower than the amount that they were paying.
Okay.
And they were like, "Hey, update the invoice to the," and it was like $40 more. I
hmm
was like,
Yeah.
"That's never happened before." Like,
Yeah.
so there's
hmm
some sort of shift going on in the industry, I guess, where it's like, um, and this could be because like you and like there's quite a few of you guys. There's like I would say there's like 5 to 6 solid, really legit guys in the
hmm
industry,
Yeah.
that their name is their brand at this point. You know,
hmm
and I know like yours is it it definitely stands out. So I actually want to talk about that real quick. So as we move into
Yeah.
this, like how you became a direct buyer, let's
hmm
talk about that. So you went from local flipper to direct buyer. Like what decision was made there? Like why did you want to go all in on being a direct buyer?
I believe the main thing I was struggling was actually getting a lot of inventory locally.
Yeah.
So it was I just wasn't buying as much locally. And at that point, I believe that was like 2 years ago, when I started like buying more from people. And then I noticed that I had enough money. Like I have a good amount of money that was not being used. It was just in my bank account. And I was joining these Facebook groups. Okay, people were selling stuff on there that, oh, I could buy this and go sell it to my buyer and make
Yeah.
30, $40. I was like, not bad. And so I slowly started buying from people in the groups. Like when I see something get posted, anybody that wants to be a direct buyer, like, listen, this is literally what I did. So if you want to be, and I don't know why people want to do it, but if you have the money and want to deal with all the headache, go right ahead. Because I do genuinely think that local flipping is a lot, especially if you're doing it on the side. It's so much better. The margins are so much better. There's so much less headache. But
Yep.
if you want to go full time and you have like good amount of money to work with, good amount of money, if people want a number, I would say you want like $50,000 or something, and you want to be turning that quick. That's money you want to work with. Like if you have that and you can turn that money over every week, you're solid. You can pay a couple small invoices and you can get going. But I was going on Facebook groups and I was buying from people. Now, when you buy from somebody, guess what? Next time they have a device, they may post it again or they may hit you up. Now you buy from 100 people, 30 of those guys now instead of posting, they're like, "Hey, Mohammed, I have this. Do you want to buy it?" Yeah, how much you want for it? I would just offer them whatever. And that's how you kind of build it up. So when I saw that I was buying a good amount of devices on Facebook from suppliers, and my local was a little bit dying. Like I just wasn't so focused on it. I wasn't using the right strategies. I wasn't using the right ads, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is not bad. I'm not meeting customers. I just go pick up a bunch of back packages, bring them home, we inspect them, we sell them, and yeah, I have to buy 10 times the quantity to make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. I was like, this is a more scalable model in the
Yeah.
future. Like if I want to get big, this is the way. Like you just buy from everybody instead of just being limited to your local market. But nothing wrong with local. It's just it depends on your market. Like if you're in a big city, yo, go right ahead. I wasn't in the ideal position in a big city to actually buy a lot locally anyway. So I'm like, all right, I can keep driving around like crazy, or I can just have this stuff delivered to me. So you just have to adapt. And
Yeah.
if you're killing it locally, I'm telling you, like I'm at this position and I'm thinking of adding like just hiring somebody to run the local stuff because there is money in it. Even if I'm in a small town, it ain't no excuse. I can still make a good amount of money just doing locally.
What
But
was your highest amount in the local part? Like, what was your best month locally?
profit,
Yeah.
um, I probably made around like 15 to 16.
Yeah, that's about the
Okay,
two
yeah,
just in
yeah,
the local market, like to where
yeah,
you're hustling, you know?
yeah.
And around that point is where I see people go the direct buyer route.
Hmm.
We saw I don't know if you work with him, Isaac Susi.
Yeah, I know Isaac. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure you
yeah.
guys.
I've done a couple deals. Yeah,
Yeah, like he went from local, and he hit that 15, 18. I think he had $18,000 a month local,
nice,
which was
nice.
wild, especially at his age.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
and then he just transitioned to direct because he had the cash, you know,
yeah. 100%.
like like I was like, go for it, man. Like you got it. You know, you're doing really well locally. Don't turn it off.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but he was at the point actually where he could just kind of his Google was verified. It was bringing free leads, like, and that's kind of the
Hmm.
point you want to get locally, in my opinion, is you want to run the ads enough to where you're local, like you're known, like
Yes.
branded, right? And if you're branded
Hmm.
on Google, the leads will just come for free. And those are the best leads anyway. Like nobody likes fishing through Facebook leads all day long, like to find the 10% that you're going to close. You know, let's be real. um,
My biggest regret in my local game was not using a CRM
yeah,
to go to all my leads and then not focusing on my organic stuff for my Google. Like I didn't start a Google until like last year. And I've been in it for like since end of 2018. I've been in the business and I was flipping locally for a solid 4 or 5 years. And I didn't have a CRM. I still don't have a CRM, but I'm working on it. I promise you.
I
And
can help with that.
right. And then I didn't have a Google listing. And when I meet people, I'm at like over 1,000 people by now.
Yeah,
If I asked each one of them for a review and got 20% of them to leave me a review, I would have 200 reviews on my Google. And I would be popping. But instead I have 15 reviews on my Google.
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
live and you learn.
organic is the way, bro. Like Google listing, organic. The ads are cool, but build your name and
Yes.
make sure everybody gets your number. People like business cards. Don't do business cards. Give them your goddamn number. Sorry, Farah. Give them your number and tell them, hey, save me as Mohammed, phone buyer, or
Yeah,
something like that. So when they
yeah.
search their thing, they can see phone buyer, you pop up. They're not gonna remember your name, but they remember phone buyer.
One
And
thing we do is whenever I buy something from somebody, I throw them into an automation with the bill of sale, and it texts
mhm,
them every month, every 30 days,
that's
asking
why I need CRM. Yeah,
what else they have to sell. And
yeah.
total, it was funny because one of my guys, he was actually like, he wasn't flipping phones anymore. He had started another business, a coaching business, helping people pass the SAT score of all things. Funny enough,
Nice.
because he was so good at it. But
Yeah.
he still had the automation running, and
Mm,
somebody hit him up for like four. I think it was four iPhone 15 Pro Maxes, new in
hmm.
box, and he made like
Yeah.
$1,100 in profit, like just because of that.
You.
So it's
Yeah.
important to, yes, get their phone number, but also like to be proactive in the follow up,
Yeah. 100%.
because a lot of people don't like. Look, I want to reframe this business really quick for people. We
Mhm.
are not buying phones and electronics from people. We are selling people cash. Let's be real.
Yeah.
That's the best
Right.
offer you can actually give people. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I will give you cash for blank. Doesn't
Right.
matter what it is. I mean, you buy all sorts of stuff. I buy all sorts of stuff.
Hmm.
Like um, like iPads, MacBooks, smartwatches, cameras, game consoles, VR headset. Like all of those things have value, but we are not
Yeah.
buying things from people. We're selling people the cash, is what we're doing. Um, so I want to
Dude,
I want to reframe the business model because that's what.
I've bought makeup, I've bought
Yeah.
perfume, I've bought coffee machines. If I can make money on it and somebody says yes to my cash offer, I'm taking it. I don't care what it is. As long as you know how to quote things, and if especially like I know a lot of your students know how to they're not just phone buyers, they're like multiple
Yep.
electronics. If you know how to look up a UPC on eBay and find the product, or on Google and find that product and search it and look at the sold listing and look at the average price, whatever,
Yep.
why not buy it? And if it's selling, why not buy it? Like I genuinely think, so going back to the Google thing, like I genuinely think within a year, if you do the CRM, you grow your Google, you run some ads, I think you can get to a point within a year or two where you're making $10,000 a month in profit without necessarily having to run any ads. Like you can get to a point where you're just so known that you just don't need to run ads. You're
Yeah.
just getting all these people. People know you. And another thing on the direct buyer, let me just follow. The direct buyer stuff you can do at mail-ins. I don't know if Isaac is doing mail-ins or he's just doing it local, but another thing you can do is look for the people that are posting ads in your area,
Yes. Yes.
message them and tell them, hey, I can buy your shit and I can buy your devices. And yes, you'll have to work on $20, $30 margins. If you want to be a direct buyer, deal with it because that's how it works. And it gets thinner as you go to the top. But you don't need to start doing mail-ins. Just look in your local area, see other people that do the same business and buy from those people instead. You don't gotta be crazy and become whatever and have all these packages come in.
Yeah.
Just be
So
a local direct buyer.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and that's what I tell my guys
Yeah.
to do. Like that's actually part of the scaling systems we have in place. Is like
Yeah.
once you, because I did a poll a while back. I have a pretty good audience in the Facebook group and everything, and I
Nice.
found out that about 8 out of 10 phone flippers don't sell online. 8 out of 10.
Oh, so there's a local?
There is yeah, dude,
Oh
they're flipping over here on
shit.
Facebook Marketplace. Like, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
because I have these people in my DMs all the time, and they're like, "How do I scale my business?" I'm like, "Well, what are you doing?" They're like, "Oh, I'm reaching out on Marketplace," and I'm like, "What are you doing per month?" They're like 2K, 3K a month, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
just off of Marketplace, and they're like, "Yeah," I'm like,
Yeah.
bruh, if you sold online or to direct buyers, and what? Next thing they ask me is like, "What's a direct buyer?"
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude,
Like,
100%.
so that poll was fascinating to me because there's like this underground set of people out there that outweigh us big time. Like,
Yeah.
um, and like I tell my guys, is like once you get enough capital, you should start connecting with those guys in your area, especially the guys posting on
100%.
Marketplace and Craigslist, because you can likely buy from those guys. Another
Yeah.
thing that I like to do is I like to partner with repair shops because those guys don't sell online either. Fun,
Yeah.
like crazy enough. I walked into a repair shop one time, and the guy actually brought me in the back, and I saw
Hmm.
just stacks of computers, dude. And I was like,
Yeah.
bro, what are you doing with all these? He's like, oh, I just keep them for parts. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, you can
These are
sell all
money,
these on
bro. Yeah.
eBay's a scam. I'm just like, all right,
Yeah.
whatever. uh, but
Yeah.
I actually made friends with one repair shop, and he didn't want to sell online. He didn't want to deal with anything. And this is actually
Hmm.
kind of early on in my when I started, back when I
Hmm.
lived in Beaumont. And I met him, and he had a bunch of devices he couldn't get rid of. Like you couldn't sell
Hmm.
them in the store; they were broken, like boot loops and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
was like, dude, I'll just sell the stuff for you. Like
Yeah.
I'll just sell the stuff online for you, and we can just kind of I'll take twenty five
Split.
percent of what it
Yeah.
sells for. And he was like, dude, cool, yeah. And I just cash apped him the money, and he was very happy with that.
Yeah.
And so there's so many opportunities out there that people just don't realize. Most repair shops do not market. They do not sell
Hmm.
online. They rely on that trade back and forth between the local community.
Yeah.
Let's be real, they're gonna die. Like eventually.
Yeah.
There's a repair shop right down the road from me that closed down about
Hmm.
6 months ago. Because he and I walked in there, and he didn't buy phones. All he did was repair. That's all he did. And
It really is it's really not hard to win,
it's really
honestly.
not.
And you don't need to complicate it. Like I'll just give the simplest example. I have a cell phone repair shop that I go to. Every visit is like 30, 40 items per
Yeah,
time. Some phones, some headphones, things like that. Every visit is like at least I'm making $1,000. Every time in this guy's shop, I'm making $1,000. Imagine you just need 10 of those to make 10,000. Like if you think about a simple math, you just need 10
yeah,
people like that. And those people, the crazy part is those people exist.
yeah,
They are there. And this guy, he actually has an eBay. Like it's not like he has an eBay, but he sometimes just wants to get rid of shit quick.
yeah.
So the money is there, and like you can go fish for. It's nice to get those small customers here and there that sell you once a year, twice a year, get them on the CRM, whatever. But if you want to build something consistent and you want to scale it, you want to target um the fishermen,
Yep.
not the fish. The fish are the customers. You want to target the people that are buying from customers.
Yes.
The repair shops, the pawn shops, whatever, you buy from those people. And those people are consistent because they always buy things because they're always there. They've been in business and they're going to be in business.
Yep.
That person you buy off of from like you met at Starbucks, he might sell you that one time, you'll never see him again. And he could sell you again and again. Who knows? But I know for sure that phone shop is still going to be there next month, next year, whatever. As long as they do decent business, they're going to be there. And those, you just need a couple of those to build an income and a business for yourself. And those people, you treat them well. You can go walk in with a box of donuts, whatever people
Yep.
like.
Yeah.
Just do something. Hey, my name is Mohammed. I buy and sell products. I can help you sell some things, and you can make money. Da, 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 whatever it is, like you just have a pitch for it that is personal. Don't be like a robot.
Yep.
And that's it. And you just need 10 of those. Like imagine having 20 of those and you just go every day you go to one of them or every week you go to five and you're just making $20,000 off of and that guy is happy and you're happy and
Yep.
it's consistent. And that's how you build a business because just meeting customer by customer by customer by customer is cool. But it's
Good way to
at
start.
some point, it's that's how everybody starts.
Yeah.
But at some point you just if you want to scale, that's the next step. You buy from the people that are buying, not the consumer themselves.
Totally agree. That's what we call it our scaling for, right? The
Hmm.
first one is you want to connect with other resellers in the area because those are the guys that are buying stuff. The next one is like pawn shops and repair shops. I love the
Hmm.
pawn shops. Freaking love the pawn shops. Stupid
Hmm.
money. I make stupid money from pawn shops.
Yeah.
And it's all iPads and MacBooks, funny enough. Like never
Mm.
iPhones. That's why you guys got to learn
They don't
iPads
like
and
buying
MacBooks.
phones. Yeah, they don't
They
like
don't like
buying
buying
phone
phones at all.
shops.
But there
Yeah.
is so what I call it I forget my method, brain fog today. But
Hmm.
there is an opportunity at those pawn shops that don't buy phones because people bring phones in there all the time.
Right.
If you connect and leave your business cards there, which they
Hmm.
will do, especially Easy Pawns. I love Easy Pawns.
Mm.
I leave my business cards at the ones that don't buy phones, and they send me people all the time. They're like, we don't buy phones, but this guy does. Like,
Mhm.
and you can lowball the hell out of those people. Like, they're going to a pawn shop, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
The next one that I always recommend is the repeats and referrals, right?
Hmm.
Like we build the business from the one-off transactions in the beginning. You
Right.
guys need to be asking, like, who else do you know like you that has stuff that they want to sell, right? This is how you turn one into two and two into four and four into eight,
Hmm.
right? And that's how you can build out that kind of tree of referrals. And then I have another one, but it's mostly it's mostly the stores and oh right, it's building Google. That's what it is.
Mm.
That's the most
Yeah.
important one.
Hmm.
Crazy thing about the Google is like those people that have a lot of product. A lot of times they actually reach out to other people on Google because I don't
Oh.
think a lot of people realize how important that is. Like Yelp and all of that, yeah, that's cool, but Google is
Hmm.
king. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I have people contact me on Google every single day. Like the guy that I bought this 15 Pro Max from today,
Hmm.
he took my first offer of 580. Like
Yeah.
he was just like, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
Now,
dude.
if that was a Facebook lead, let's be real, that wouldn't have happened. You know,
Yeah. And you would have paid $5 for that
yeah,
and still didn't get nothing.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
So I mean, and they're I think Facebook ads are a great way to start. You know, that
Hmm.
you got to learn how to negotiate. You got to learn that stuff. The Google SEO stuff, Google My Business is definitely where it's at though. But I want to talk a little bit about, so you came up and you
Let
started
me
your
add
second
one
business.
thing
Yeah, go for it.
before we get for the audience. So the things that we talked about could be overwhelming,
Yeah,
but it's all about setting up a plan and a strategy. You don't need to apply everything all at once. And to be honest, a lot of the things that I talked about, those are things that I would do if I was to start over in the local game, but they're not necessarily things that I did or that I am still doing. But if you're still starting whatever, it's okay where you're at. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need a CRM tomorrow. You don't need the Google listing tomorrow, but have a set plan and have a set strategy to do these things down the line because we are people that have done this for years, right? And we're telling you, like I'm telling you, I've done this shit and I've done it wrong. And I'm telling you, if I was to redo it, that's how I'll do it. And so it could be overwhelming to think like, oh, I have to do this, this, this. Do one at a time, learn it, do it properly, ask for help if needed. People will help you, believe it or not.
yeah,
Ask questions and do it one by one and see which one can get you the best returns, which ones that you can apply right away and do it. But like if you're taking notes, write the things down and be like, okay, by December I want to do this. In January I want to have this done. Like whenever I want to do something in the future, I never, ever, ever like just let it go. I write it down somewhere on my phone and I go back to that. I basically review my notes and things like every week and I review the things that I gotta do and I put a tag on it for like the month that it needs to be done.
yeah.
Once it's time for that, I get it done. That way I know down the line I need to do something, but I don't get overwhelmed with the idea of like I have to do 100 things at once. I just have to do one thing this week and then next week I'll do the next thing. And if it takes a month, I will take a month, but I'll make sure I'll do it right and then do the next thing. But don't get overwhelmed, but also make sure you like apply this strategy and have a strategy and a plan for everything for a specific date to actually do it and not just let it be like, I'm gonna do it eventually. I'm gonna do it. You're never gonna do it. Put a date to it, stick to a plan, make a small steps, small goals that you have to do every day, whatever that needs to be done. Put in an hour or two into it and make it happen.
Be surprised, guys, how long an hour is. You guys would be very surprised how long an hour is.
Deep work, baby. Deep work.
Like the
Turn
other
off
day,
the phone and get to work.
one thing I like to do. So I use Andy Frisella's power list thing, where there's
Okay.
5 critical tasks every single day. Like those are the things that have to be accomplished today. Um,
Okay.
I put build funnel today, and I like to put times next to how long something is ideally going to take.
Yeah.
Um, and so I put build funnel, and I put 30 minutes next to it. So that means I only got to spend 30 minutes on doing it. Like that's the
Mhm.
time limit. Guys,
Yeah.
I did the whole thing in like 18 minutes. I was just like, what? Like,
And
you'd
your
be
phone was
surprised.
off, but that was the only thing you were doing.
Yeah,
Like that
that
you
was the
just
only thing I was
locked
doing.
in.
The timer
Yep.
was set, and
Hmm.
that's how that's how it was.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you guys like what Mohammed said there is very real. Is take an hour. Like setting up a CRM is not that hard, and especially if you use something like our stuff, Recelerator, Resell Deck, all of that. Like half of it's
Hmm.
done for you. Like it's all like you log in and it's there. Like it's wild
Hmm.
website and
Yeah.
all. Um, and then on top of that, like with the reach outs and stuff, like we automated that. Like
Hmm.
we have an automated reach out software at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like imagine being able to do 100 with a click of a button, Muhammad. And like
Yeah.
back in the day to
Back in
be
the day, oh
like
my God.
imagine being able to do 100 a day
Yeah.
with no effort. Like that's the stuff that we have now. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I love
Yeah.
bringing in people into Recelerator from like the David days. Like and like they know the difference, you know? It
They're
was
like,
like
whoa, this is easy, bro.
like you launch ads in platform, Google ads, Facebook ads, reach
Yeah.
outs, like stupid.
Yeah.
But it's funny because new people don't know. They don't because they don't have the perspective.
They don't know, man.
But I wanna transition here a little bit to like what is the goal now for DN top buyer?
So the end, um, so I'll share my current goals. So
Yep.
a lot
What are
of
your
it
5 year
is
goals? Like I know you
it's
probably got
it
some 5 year goals set up now.
yeah. Um, I'll give you the 1 year goal, and then we can look further down. But the main goal right now is set up my systems and processes in a way where I'd love to work remote. That's like my dream. It's
Yeah.
like to be honest with the business, I don't have a dream of changing the world or anything like that because it's just a flipping business. Like I'm in it to make money, right? Like at the end of the day, that's what I'm in it. I'm not trying to do nothing crazy. Yeah, I will donate money, whatever, but I'm not building a product or doing something crazy. I'm literally just buying and flipping things. So to me, it's just a way to be financially free. And so like over the next this year, I'm actually working one on one with somebody to tweak our systems, our processes, hire the right people, delegate the right things to free up myself from having to go to we have a little office in the warehouse that we use, but to free myself up from being there, to be able to work remote and focus on the things that I actually enjoy in my business, which is I love making the content. I love going to events. I do love talking to customers for the most part. Some people are annoying.
Come on, let's be real.
Yeah. But
Do we like talking because yes,
yeah,
of course we
that's
do.
oh, 100%. Yeah. I love negotiating over 20 bucks on a phone. Yeah. I had a guy yesterday I met locally and he was like, I bought a 15 Pro Max unlocked. I bought it for what is it? I don't know. I was making like 70 bucks, $60 on it. Like even locally now, I'm so used to direct buying that I just work with small margins locally for no reason instead of lowballing. It's just like subconscious. I just offer high offers right away. But he was like, "Yeah, man, you got to turn around and sell it for $1,000." I'm like, "No, I'm making $50, bro." But um, anyways, I don't know where I was going with that.
Isn't it
But
funny though? Like once you start getting good at this thing, and then you have enough money to not care, like how you somehow end up closing people better.
yeah, because
Like,
you're not needy.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I remember David used to talk about that. He's like, when
Mm.
you're needy, you chase them away, you know?
Yeah,
And it's so
100%.
true too. Like when you have enough that you don't need that device to pay for something, like people, you just start closing people left and right. It's wild. Like
It's all
how
about
much it
leads.
changes.
If you get leads, you will win. If you have leads, even if you suck at conversating with people, you suck in negotiations, your ads might be ugly. When you sell on eBay, like your listings are ugly. If you can get leads through the door, you will close people, you will make money. If you were to work on one thing, like my goal is to systemize my systems so I can become a leads machine where I can just bring a lot of leads in. Once the lead comes in, I have my team handle it and I don't have to be involved. So I'm just involved in the starting process of getting the customer through, and then potentially selling. Like I decide, okay, we sell this to this buyer, we sell this to this buyer, whatever, and that can be trained as well. But I just want to be the face of the business, and my focus. I'm telling you, like as a direct buyer, that's someone that's been in it for a minute. You just want people to come through. Leads, leads, leads. That is the way. Like stop tweaking little things, whatever. The end goal, get more leads. Everything else will go up with it. But you just got to get leads. You could be the best closer in the world. You could be closing 70% of the people you talk to, 80%. But what's going to get you more results? Getting double the leads and closing at 50%, or getting the same amount of leads but closing 10% more.
Yeah.
And now you close 80%. You de- I'll take the leads all day long. So get more
This is why
leads.
we have a big um like we tell our guys you need to be in 50 conversations a day. 50
Hmm.
minimum. Minimum,
Yeah.
right? Between reach outs, Facebook ads, Google ads. Like if you're in
Hmm.
and this is something we've seen is if you're in 50 convos a day, you can't lose. There's no way. It's
No way.
mathematically impossible to lose at that point.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
100%.
when you're when you're sending 100 reach outs a day, when you're getting leads from Facebook, when you're getting leads from, and you can, over time you can figure out where your best leads come from. But like, if just the volume aspect of things, like we have one guy, all
Hmm.
he did was reach outs, but he did like 150 a day. Like,
That's
it's like
crazy.
crazy. And of course, he had the reach out tool is a thing,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
he made it easy for himself. But he
Yeah.
made like $1,000 in a week just doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just doing reach outs on consoles and phones. That's all he was doing. So, like, what Muhammad
Leads,
is saying,
baby. Yeah.
guys, is
Leads.
the same at at the top as it is at the bottom, right?
Hmm.
Like, if you can get enough leads, you just win. Like,
Automatically.
one
You
thing
can't
I
lose.
hear a lot, and maybe you can bring some. I have to repeat myself on this all the time.
Hmm.
But Chris, what about crappy leads? Muhammad, what would you say to that? Like, what happens if you get crappy leads?
You just don't buy it, bro. You ain't gotta buy it. Like if the lead is not good, like if you can't make money on it, if you can make money on it, try to close it. If it's an iPhone 8 and you can buy it for $20, offer $20. And if it's
Heck
an
yeah,
iPhone 6 iCloud locked, okay, shitty lead next.
yeah.
Like it's literally part of it. Like you just gotta deal with it. Like what do you expect? Not everybody's gonna have a 15 Pro Max unlocked, brand new in the box, sealed for $400. So that's literally just you just gotta deal with it, man.
So I have a saying that in this business, especially with electronics, is every lead is a customer, right? Either now or later,
Yeah.
right? That because that person that has that iCloud locked iPhone 6 later on in their life could have an iPhone 15 Pro Max,
They could
right?
have a come up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it happen many times. One thing I like
Yeah.
to do a lot of, and this is why I always recommend being able to buy outside of iPhones, right?
Hmm.
Is I always like to ask that question David taught us early on. It's like, what else do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
See,
MacBooks, iPads, smartwatches, things
that's why you teach, because I don't do that shit.
like that.
I just ignore it. That's why I'm telling you, like a lot of things I don't do properly and I still did fine. But if you know more shit than me, like in those specific areas, I'm like, listen to Chris.
Well, when you're starting, I mean, as you grow, it's better to get specialized, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
you figure out what you're good at and what you vibe with. And
Hmm.
some people go after cracked iPhones only. You know,
Yeah.
I have one guy who was a mentor, Matt Senka. All he did was, do you know
Hmm.
him?
I have to see his profile.
Yeah, it was
Matt's
he ran Buyback Hub quite a few years ago. But
okay.
the
Hmm.
only thing he bought was iCloud and DOA devices. He had a half a
Interesting.
million dollar a year business just
Woof.
doing that. Like that's all it was.
Yeah.
Like
That boy had
that's
margin on this
crazy.
stuff too. Yeah, probably had
Like
good margin.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like you figure out what you're good at as you start off in these different areas. Like we got some students now that only flip game consoles. Like we have one
Yeah.
person who she made 16,000 in profit, brand new to the business, 4 months
Wow.
in, flipping cameras and game consoles.
I
Dude,
love cameras. Oh my
imagine
goodness.
her margins 150 to 200%.
What the? Yeah.
Like
Dude,
ridiculous,
I think about this all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna drop the phones and start buying just like the other electronics
Camera
because there
machine.
is,
Holy
bro,
shit.
there is so much better margins on the other stuff. Like I don't even. I look at phones. I'm like, all this work for $15, $20. Like,
For
come
real.
on now. Where I could just like buy a laptop and make $250 off of one flip.
Yeah,
So
for real, man. Like
I
I don't think
consider it
people
all the
realize.
time. Yeah.
I don't think people
Yeah.
realize how much margin, like the margins in the other industries there are.
Yeah.
And I think that's because like phones have just been kind of overshadowing them for a long time.
Yeah.
Like for example, the VRs, like VR headsets,
Hmm.
they're
Yeah.
ridiculous on margin. Like, and
Hmm.
the great thing about them is there's not many, but people can't sell them locally.
Yeah.
So, but you can sell
100%.
them online very easily.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just, honestly, it's just taking advantage of the people that can't sell online. But that's what flipping is in
That's
terms
a lot of people. Yeah. You just take it from a low demand area to a high demand, which is online, which is open to everybody instead of just Illinois or whatever city you're in, whatever it could be.
So what's the 5 year plan? I know. So you basically said you don't plan on changing the world, right?
Yeah, I don't. Not right now. In the future, like we're talking like 50 years from now, though, not
Yeah.
5. Yeah,
So the goal right now is to just systematize everything so you can kind of live your life, right? You basically use the
100%.
business as a cat or a vehicle to provide the
Support
life
my
you want.
lifestyle.
There you
Yeah.
go. So
And if it's sellable 5 years from now,
fantastic, right?
yeah. That's what Alex Hermosi said. He said if you're building a business, whether you want to sell it or keep it forever, build it to be sellable. Because when you plan on making it sellable, you're just gonna build it correctly
Yeah,
instead of just making it have like all these little holes or issues with it. No, you're gonna build it proper. So if you want to sell it, it can sell. And if it doesn't sell, well, you have a beautiful business that you could sell at any moment or hand it down to whoever you want or whatever.
yeah. Did you talk to him at the event?
I was able to.
What
I
kind of
choked.
what kind of whiz you choked? Is that
I
what you said?
choked so bad, dude. It was like after his presentation, and there was like a little like dinner thing, like drinks,
Yeah,
whatever. And so we were just standing around, and then he came out of nowhere, like, and he just stood at the entrance of the area, and I was right at the entrance. So he just came out of nowhere, and he talked to the one dude, and then they finished their conversation. I was just admiring him the whole time. Dude is jacked, bro. No homo. He looks good. So I was just there. I wasn't even thinking. And then he shook my hand. I was like, hey, and I was like, can I shake your hand again? He said, yeah. Shook his hand again. And then I was like, Alex, I just want to say I love you. And then Alex was like, he said, I love me too. I'm like, oh my God. And then I talked for 2 minutes about like, yeah, this is what I do. I was so nervous. I was talking like super fast. And then I talked for 2 minutes like, this is what I do, whatever. And then I was like, I don't really have any questions. Like, I just wanted to say hi. He was like, okay. And then he just turned around to the next person.
I was
But
on
then he
one
was
of the. That's
yeah, he was taking questions from people. Like he was actually like
yeah.
genuinely answering, and I choked, bro. Yeah, so bad.
Yeah, you won't choke next time. It's all good, dude. Um,
Hopefully,
I remember whenever I was so I'm in the I was in the well I am in the school games, but
nice.
I asked him a question about this industry one time,
Hmm.
and he's like, the end goal is to just buy as many devices as possible for people. Like
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Hmm.
Because the way he explained it, he's like, because I guess he's actually looked into the industry a little bit because he sees all the people popping up on school,
Yeah.
selling their courses and stuff, and
Hmm.
um, and basically what he said is like, imagine, you are, um, imagine trying to sell a course, right?
Hmm.
Like you're trying to sell a course to one person. Well,
Hmm.
to buy a device from somebody, you just got to sell money. Is basically what he said. Like
Mm.
he's like, you can do that a lot. It's really funny actually. Somebody reached out to
Mm.
Aaron Goldstein the other day and was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, bro, we could let's create a course together, $100, and we can sell it to 10,000 people." And Aaron was, Aaron knows how difficult it is to sell a course,
Yeah.
especially to
To that
people
many people.
like the phone flippers who don't think that they need it, right?
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
he turned he messaged me and he's like, "Look at this." He's like, "Yeah, let's just go buy 10,000 phones and make $1 million or $10 million." Like he's like, that's
Yeah.
harder than it looks. You
Yeah.
can't just go buy 10,000 phones right off the bat.
Hmm.
It's funny how people think.
Yeah.
But I like the way that Hormozy thought, and that's why we added a buying aspect into what we do, and that's why
Yeah.
we're connecting actually with a lot of other direct buyers, you included,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
we want a big network of people to work with, and you know that and that's another thing he actually recommended. He's like, got to find the best people to sell to,
Yeah.
um,
And buy from, yeah.
and buy from.
Both
Yeah. So it's
both
it's a
ends.
very like the more people, it's that whole network is your net worth thing.
Yeah.
The more people the like, because one thing I've noticed with direct buyers, I want to ask you this question towards the end here
Hmm.
because every direct buyer has this, is most direct buyers have a specialization in what they buy.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's why you want to be connected with a lot of them because some pay really good for unlocked, some pay really
Hmm.
good for carrier locked, some people pay
Yeah.
really good for cracked iCloud
Yeah.
DOA. Like
100%.
everybody kind of has their specialty. I've noticed.
Hmm.
So what is the DN top buyer specialty? Like what do you expect? Like what is your favorite thing that you can pay the best for?
So I'm a general guy, so I buy everything. But the best things that I love Windows laptops. I
Really?
think I like brand new though. I hate used.
Yeah.
But I love brand new Windows laptops. Like that is I the, let me give some sauce to the who would listening to this? You got is it your students or everybody?
Everybody on YouTube that's
Okay,
watching.
perfect. All right. When you sell on eBay, whoever buys from you, especially people that buy bulk or consistently, message them, give them your freaking number. You can't send your number on eBay,
Write
but
that
you can
down.
write a sticky note, take a picture of it. You can write that. And I used to have like, you actually could, before that was a thing, but on eBay, you could actually leave a little note at the bottom of your thing with your like name and phone number and stuff. You want to give them your WhatsApp because a
Yeah.
lot of them are international. Okay. Do that. Whoever buys from you in bulk or consistent, make sure you do that. You can even reach out to other people that are selling that product or similar products and be like, "Hey, do you buy this?" So there was a time where I bought these Cisco servers, right? These
Oh yeah,
servers.
I've sold those.
And I saw this guy selling them. I reached out, I'm like, "Hey, messages eBay, hey, I have like 20 of these. Would you buy them?" Da da da. Later, like a couple days later, I closed a deal with him, and he became a buyer for me for Cisco. Instead of me having to sell it on eBay,
Yep.
I found a buyer that way. So eBay is a beautiful place to find suppliers and people to sell to. It's just you have to n put your name out there and
Yep.
give people your number and be open to deals. Don't automatically say no because I don't deal with this thing.
Yep.
No, like actually give yourself a chance to try different products. Like if I said no to the first time I was offered a Windows laptop, I would have never been where I'm because I 50% of my income comes from non-phone stuff. And I would have never been open to buying non-Apple stuff or phone stuff if I said no to the first deal and everything. But then I bought it. I made someone. I'm like, okay, this is not bad. Kept doing it, kept doing it. It just opened a whole new thing for you.
Yeah.
Instead of being limited to this one category, now you're open to like many more things
I love that.
within the same niche. So
Another thing that so sometimes whenever somebody buys from you on eBay, it actually has their phone number in the
yeah.
shipping area. What
Hmm.
I'll do now, you guys, this is with a grain of salt disclaimer. You can get banned for this if you do it incorrectly.
Hmm.
um, so I did this. I found people that bought certain items, and I found their number on the eBay thing in the shipping area once they buy it from you. And
Hmm.
what I did, and I did this with Oculus because I noticed a guy bought like a ton of my Oculus stuff,
Okay.
and I found him on WhatsApp because I found the number, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, do you buy Oculuses?" I
Yeah,
didn't tell
dude.
him that I found him on eBay.
Yeah.
I just
100%.
just reached out. I was like, "Hey, found this number somewhere. Do you buy Oculuses?" And then we made a connection.
Hmm.
And later on, I told him that I found him on eBay. But some people can be
Yeah.
a little weird about that. Just being real with you guys, like
Yeah.
just be careful about it. And just be like, "Hey, do you buy this?" And like, don't tell them where you came from, but you can
Yeah.
connect with a lot of people. I've connected with direct buyers that way, China
Hmm.
buyers, like
Hmm.
all sorts of stuff. Um, and if they buy on eBay, um, and they have a lot of ratings, the likelihood that they're legitimate is incredibly high.
Yeah.
So,
And another thing I'll add is on your eBay store you have like a little banner. You have the picture and the banner.
oh yeah,
So the banner I actually have my name and phone number and WhatsApp and email in it. And I've had it for 4 or 5 years. eBay has not done anything. So if you guys want to add that to your thing, if you get banned, not my problem. But I've been
yeah,
doing it. I don't have any issues. But I've had people tell me like, "Oh, I found your number on eBay."
nice.
That's how they found it. Just there on the banner.
You can also send a little like little piece of paper in the packaging too, with a QR
Yes.
code. I would
See,
recommend QR code
yeah.
with a on a business card just to be safe, but
Hmm.
that because you don't people are weird, sometimes they'll
Yeah.
report you to eBay for stupid stuff or wanting to connect,
It's like this guy sent me nudes or something. I'm just kidding.
but but uh, but yeah, dude. So how can people connect with you? I know you do some wild marketing stuff, but
Facebook, Mohammed Alamidi. You will see me. A lot of my posts are public, so just Mohammed Alamidi. And you will find my handsome face on
oh
Facebook. So
yeah,
that's good.
he does some very interesting marketing tactics to get people to notice him.
It's gonna get more crazy once. Just wait till next year. I'm just gonna go all out. Once I got the system in place, I'm just gonna be making videos every day. Just crazy shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Dude, I'll put your information in the first comment. That way, people can find
Hmm.
it. They can reach out to you,
Yeah.
see your price list and everything.
Tell them to follow me on Instagram too. I'm gonna send you my Instagram. I need more clout.
Man, I need to work on my Instagram. Terrible
It's
at
just girls just think I'm lame because I don't have followers, man. Just I hit them up, they never
that.
reply. Maybe if I had more clout, maybe I'll get replies.
Well, anyway, I will put his information in the first comment for everybody watching. So, with that being said, thanks for coming on, dude. This has been
Yes,
fun,
sir.
and we'll have to connect to the next expo.
Uh, next expo, I'm just excited. All right. Yes, sir.